That looks great.
Yay! I'm so excited. That's the first time we played version 1 of the new opener. So
I'm sorry, I was distracted by Amy. All of a sudden, she pops out of nowhere.
Oh, I can't even see her right now. How great is that? I love technology.
Now well, I can't see her either. I don't know if she's still on.
Well, I just want to say hi out there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Survivor Wrap-Up, recapping the latest episode of Survivor. And all of my fun friends from the past. I'm so excited. It's such a great show. We've got Dave Johnson from Amazon, who I have not seen in ages. And Mitchell Olsen, who we were just giving a bunch of love last week. He's finally here. Holly Hoffman. We've got Spencer Dom. And did you say Amy just showed up?
Yes, she was down there.
I don't know where
she was at the bottom of the screen. They had us in 2 pillars, and then she was there at the bottom.
Weird.
Oh.
Did I say your last name right, Spencer?
No, it's fine though. I let it pass because it happened. It's happened since It's Doom. It's German.
Doom.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Jawohl.
It's like the umlaut above it or something, the U or something. I'm not sure. Oh, and Jerry, what season was I on?
Token Jeans.
It's a good thing I was already in bed by the time I saw that. Somebody tweeted me or something, and I was like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I think Courtney and Steven kind of brokered. Courtney and Todd kind of brokered a deal to have me traded over to China a long time ago, so it's fine.
Yeah, you know, I guess I kind of look at the two of you as one now. Well, whether
Trust
that's good or bad, I don't know.
I'm not upset about it. I don't care. It didn't bother me at all.
Oh, good. I don't want to upset anybody before they even get here. So, hi, Amy. By the way, I don't think where'd she go? Is she still there?
I don't see her.
No, we may have a problem with her connection, but whatever. I just want to say super big hellos to Mitchell and Dave because I have not seen you guys since, man, I don't even know. Since like 2005, I think was the last time on that crazy rafting trip in Virginia.
Yeah, and I miss you. I miss you so much.
Well, just to open anything up here, I would really love to see some pictures. I want to share some pictures with you that I found in my iPhoto book. I couldn't help myself. So, Fetus, if you want to pull up those pictures, we'll start with picture number 1. This was, I believe, at the beginning of the weekend together. Remember this, Mitchell? Yay!
I do indeed.
And then picture number 2, I got you guys together, which is another cutie.
Oh, well, that's precious.
And then cut to picture number 3, the beginning of the debauchery.
That was crazy.
There was like a 12-person hot tub, 6-person hot tub. There was 12 people in it, and
look at my farmer tan.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the blurry weekend.
And look at Rhino getting his Mac on, even back in the day.
Yeah, and Rhino, yeah, exactly. I know he was. He was so young back then and innocent.
I doubt innocent.
That girl to my left looks almost like Jerry Manthe. I wonder what would happen next.
That's not her. That's not me. That's
No.
To your left. I don't know what you're talking about, Dan.
That might be the yes.
Oh, that was the whole gag the weekend that she was me. Oh.
Yeah.
Mitchell, did you have something to do with something with her that I recall?
No, I recall, though, that there was some kind of famous singer in that hot tub. Like, really famous singer. I don't recall who, but I know there was some kind of famous singer there. Who was that?
I don't remember. It was exactly.
He was
that's
very
exactly
famous.
the whole weekend. Go ahead to the next picture.
Because
this is like my favorite.
Oh my God.
And you have to give me props for giving you the reach around.
Exactly. Oh my God. Oh
so
my
just
God,
a little flash from the past, you guys. I love you so much. I'm so glad you're here.
Dave looked just as appalled then as he is now.
That picture, that's priceless.
Picture. That is.
I couldn't help myself. I was like, I wonder if anyone's going to be upset.
Can
and
you,
I was like, oh,
Jerry, can you offer some insight? What was this a Survivor party? Because, I mean, the Red Solo Cups, we've gotten classier since then. Or was it like some other get-together?
It was like a camp out.
It was a charity event. Let's get that out first.
Okay.
We were raising money for a local charity in West Virginia.
Looks like you're raising one of Olsen's appendages, not money.
Right.
Yeah, go
Very
ahead. You
true.
can take that picture away now. I'm starting to get scared it's going to show up somewhere.
Oh, I'm
No.
sure it will.
I am too.
But yeah, it was a big whitewater rafting trip. I don't think that they even do those anymore. But man, that was a great weekend, I have to say.
It was wonderful. Amazing.
So, Mitchell, you're in Jersey tonight, and Dave, you're up in the Bay Area, California. Holly, you're in South Dakota, and Spence, you're down in Orlando, right?
Always.
Wow.
Yep. Once again, we're pulling in people from all over the United States to hang out, because this is the only place that we can do this, really. And, you know, the one thing that brings us all together over and over again is Survivor. And so let's go ahead and jump right into the episode. Oh, my gosh. First off, you guys did all watch the episode, didn't you? I have to make sure.
Yes.
Yes. Dave?
No.
Dave, you didn't watch?
I tried. I got talked late at work, and it's been a day.
I understand. Well, feel free to interject at any time, as well as you, Mitchell, with any insights you may have, you know, from your personal experiences or just your general opinion.
Sure.
Throw it out there.
Sure.
Jerry, I have something that I have to add. This morning, I didn't watch the episode last night because I had a speaking engagement. So I got to the hotel at 12:30. I slept in this morning because I was tired. And my friend came with me, and she was still sleeping. So I knew I had to watch Survivor because I was going to be on tonight. So I'm still in my PJs. I grab my laptop. I go into the bathroom. I sit in the bathtub with my knees, and I'm sitting in the bathtub in my PJs watching Survivor.
There's
Well,
a true
that's-
alumni right there.
That's it.
It is.
I'm so glad you didn't drop the laptop in the bathtub.
I know.
That would be horrible. Well, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, over the years I've noticed some of the editing has been pretty interesting, you know, in terms of taking real life situations and then morphing into a scene from nature that basically describes what each person's talking about. And last night, Troyzan going off about the women while they showed shots of ants attacking a scorpion was amazing. You know, he's all like, women in this game are just like they are in real life. They get men, they get a house, they're married, they get everything they want, and then they decide they don't need them anymore. Cut to ants eating a scorpion.
I thought that was a really rude thing of him to say, but the women are leading this, and I'd be very surprised if it doesn't come down to two girls.
Yeah. What do you think, Spencer?
No, I'm sorry, I was waving at Amy. Hi, Amy! And I also wanted to offer props really quickly to you, Jerry, since you brought in Amy and Dave from the original men versus women seasons. I don't know how intentional it was, but it works out really, really well.
Wow. No, that was not intentional. And I love it.
Jerry,
stick around.
that's when you do a hair flip and say, absolutely, I totally planned that, and you go with it. Come on.
Okay. Okay, yeah, of course, I meant it.
I would like to say about this season as far as the women, I think a similar situation happened in Amy's season, and I think that season both had a better ringleader and better bottom feeder, so to say, people who actually understood what was going on and how to flip the script in Twyla and Eliza. This season, unless Kim is doing just an incredible job of mind-fucking these people, clearly Alicia and Christina have no fucking clout for them saying, listen, every fan that's out there is saying numbers are not going to be in your favor. Yes, you will be safe for the next 6 days, but you are effed after that, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Your move is now. You either make it to the end now by making a ballsy move and risk going home possibly tomorrow because of that, or you go home in 5 days anyway. So I think kudos to Eliza and Twyla. And I was a big Amy person that season. Not to flatter Amy, but I was. I think that season was just better executed as far as on both sides of the table. Now, Kim is doing a great job, but I'm not sure how much of it is her ability to manage people or just the people that they've cast now, who we've all seen in the recent seasons, some people just aren't there to play the game. They're just there to be a pretty face. And so maybe they're there because Alicia can give good confessionals. And for some reason they cast Asian women, not to knock Asian women, because I love Asians and I love women, but who you would think would be great at manipulating people or the mind games, just because that's the stereotype, and they haven't been.
They've been very passive. Yeah.
I think I talked myself into a corner on that one. My bad. Sorry, Asian women. I do love you.
No, you didn't. I totally understand you. It's not, that's not only your opinion. It's been like a running theme with Survivor, with a lot of different people from different races and cultures. It seems like we keep getting the same repeat of personalities over and over again. And, I personally, I was so stoked last night to see Troyzan be one of the few people in a really, really long time to, like, stand up and try to change the game. Like, he fought tooth and nail, whereas other people in past seasons have just been like, oh, I don't know, I guess I'll just go along with everybody. And I put my hats off to Troyzan.
He fought tooth and nail because he knew he was going to probably be on the chopping block. So that's what I feel.
Yeah, totally.
He knows he's down to the end. That nobody really kind of likes him.
Do you guys think that maybe Troyzan had a bad experience in a relationship in the past?
Yeah.
Well, I actually think after he made those comments, I thought, oh boy, you just dug yourself a hole, buddy. Because those are the kinds of comments that you can think, but you probably shouldn't say. So I was a little shocked that he said that. I did go on and I read some of the comments this morning, and I thought, oh, he did dig himself a hole. I truly believe that guy has probably been in a relationship that didn't go very well.
Yes.
It was a very Russell move. And Chelsea, I believe, was the one who pointed it out. You can't, she said, right flat out, you just lost yourself a bunch of jury votes. Plain and simple. And whether or not he makes it, I didn't look at spoilers this season. I don't know who goes to the final three. But if he makes it to the end, if that's how he's acting towards people, and it wasn't just like a one-moment spurt, he is losing jury votes. There's no reason to do that. Yes, you accomplished something great. I understand in the moment. I get it. Sports, I understand that completely. You have to understand you're in a situation where socially you need to get along with people, especially if you know, great, that was part A of my plan to win immunity. Part B is now somehow getting 4 other people to get on my side, because I can win only so far in this game. There's going to be a time when realistically that's not going to happen. Now, yes, it is possible, but it's not going to happen. So you have to get people on your side, and that's not a way to do that at all, by alienating 6 other people.
But I will say this, he definitely earned the votes of the men. Regardless
which is 2 other people, though. He still had to get 2 other women, which is he just like stiff-armed them like the Heisman Trophy to the other side. Like, I don't want any part of you. Oh, wait, I kind of need you. Oh, that sucks. You didn't vote for me or vote with me. I understand now. Like, that was just stupid.
But like the guys on the jury, they were all sitting there going, yeah, woo! And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, that's actually kind of smart that he stood up, because all those guys really
but he has to get to the point where that matters. If he doesn't get there, it doesn't matter what they think.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I also thought that Chelsea's comment to Troyzan, where she said, you need to take this like a man.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, you don't understand. You're not the one on the chopping block. He is. Of course he's angry and he has to try to continue in the game. So he's going to be pissed off. I mean, wouldn't you be? So I thought that was kind of a rude comment, too.
It was horrible that she said, well, Jonas took it like a man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. At that point, I felt myself kind of rooting for Troyzan, which maybe that's what last night was all about, was for all of us to maybe not look to the girls going, yeah, girls. But I felt a shift last night, definitely.
That's a reflection on editing, though, and I made that comment on Twitter, and somebody got mad at me because as if I was making villains out of the women, and I said no. It would be the Survivor editors who would take a season where the women seem like they're going to go dominate the end game, and we're going to finally have a strong female win the game, maybe since Parvati, and make them into villains, make them into unlikable, not unlikable as people, but like root against them. And I'm somebody who's inclined to root for women for whatever reason. I mean, I'm sure they're... But I do tend to root for the strong female, and I don't like how they tend to get edited. But now we're starting here, and I root for Troyzan because I have him in our Survivor pool, so obviously I want him to win. But aside from that, I was still rooting for him regardless. And now they're making all the women, maybe sans Kim, even though she's the target, she seems to be the most likable still. We're making them into villains now. So it's almost like, even though we have a female winner, most likely, we're probably not going to like her. Or we're going to wish that somebody else had won, which is just unfortunate in my opinion. Which
is kind of Survivor's pattern.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate that that's what it is. When they have a chance to make a female.
Well, Dave, I'm curious, Spencer brought up a good point that your season, it was one of the first ones where there was a guy-girl thing going on. Like, did you, I'm refresh my memory because I'm trying to remember Amazon. It was so long ago. Like,
it was so good, Jerry. Come on.
It was amazing. I remember that Rob Sesternino, and I remember the shelter burning, and yeah.
It was great.
How about this? Why don't I take a stab at your not well-formulated question? You can Google it up, get some background, and then come back with a little bit of context with a
Damn! Burn!
Because A, there's no time to Google, and B, I love that you're being a smartass. You never change.
No. I mean, it's a dynamic. And again, hats off for bringing it in with the context of the men versus women. I would love to watch it. It's been a tough year, but we'll get it up. Like, okay. I'll make it happen. But it's a dynamic, and it's something that needs to be adjusted with. But it's only one facet of many things, right? As we all know, there's so many different personalities, so many different players, so many different things that are going on. Just because it's men and just because it's women doesn't necessarily mean it's a completely different game. You still got to negotiate. You still got to figure out and go through the motions and understand what's going on from a social perspective, whether it's a bunch of dudes or whether it's a bunch of chicks or whatever else.
Yeah, and one thing that people who have never played Survivor really don't understand is the amount of luck that is involved in this game. And, you could be the best player ever, but if you get teamed up with people who are equally as good or people who are just complete morons, it will completely change your personal experience.
It's true.
Yeah, and I think we all know the moment that we made the wrong choice. Like, I know my moment was on the way to Tribal Council, and Tina told me to vote for you, and I said no, and she said, let's vote for Amber. I said no, and she said, then I'll vote for you, and I was like, do what you want. So I think we all know our mistakes, and we all know that we had a chance to win it, but it really comes down to luck. It really comes down to timing. Anybody of those 16 to 20, however many people they have now, every one of them could be the winner. But, it really comes down to what you do and how you choose how to do it.
Is Mitchell blacked anybody else? Like, black screen?
No.
No,
it might be your connection.
Okay, I see everybody else. I just don't see Mitchell.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's, I don't know.
Well, you are missing out, Spencer.
Mitchell, I want to build on your point because I think it is a little bit about luck. I remember it. It's been a damn long time now, but you always try to plan in advance. You always try to figure out what's going on. But it always seems like the minute you feel like you get your grasp around it, something happens, and all of a sudden there's a twist, and you're off, and you gotta rejuggle, and it's that flexibility. And yeah, that's an important trait, but the way the cookie crumbles, the way that twist comes can be favorable for some and unfavorable for others, and there's an element there that you just can't control.
Right, but don't you think that CBS sets us up to have us all be potential winners? Like, for example, they all thought that Richard Hatch would be the first one voted off, the first one, and he won it.
Sure.
So, don't you think that they go in there thinking, this is what's going to happen, he'll be the first one, this part probably will be the last one, whatever. And then, in the end, everybody makes a small mistake, a very small mistake, and I could have changed my mistake. I chose not to, and I got voted off.
Well, I think... personally, it seems now that the more current seasons, it does tend to feel like they have a preconceived idea who they would like to see win based on who's like a bigger character and could draw a bigger audience in. And I know that playing it at the beginning and then playing it again in Heroes and Villains, I saw like such an extreme difference. We've talked about this several times, the production of the actual production. Like it feels more like a show now than it did real. And that's the part that I think I get a little upset with. I try to just enjoy it for what it is, entertainment, but sometimes I find myself getting a little aggro at things that seem to happen with some help by the producers or the questions that are asked in your interviews or things like that.
Right. I think the difference between the early seasons and the later seasons is significant. I think in the early seasons it did hinge a lot upon somebody being a great player and or somebody else maybe getting lucky to be where they were. In later seasons that people are I'm not going to say that.
Well, they have
I think that there are other influences in my opinion that tend to take things in certain directions, whereas in early seasons it was more like, we're going to throw you, like Richard Hatch, like Mitchell said, they're going to throw you into this melting pot. We think we know what's going to happen. Oh, shit, the exact opposite happened. And now in later seasons, I think it's like, okay, we're going to cast this person because they're dumb as rocks. And they're just going to follow whoever. When they're down in numbers, they're going to be fucked because they're not going to do anything. Whereas maybe more creative people played the game earlier, and now it's a limited number of people who are actually minds that could be playing the game that are like, listen, I have an idea. Sometimes a lot of people get eliminated early, and the season's kind of left to one or two people to run the game, and then it's a boring season. Other times, they all kind of last in the merge, and then it gets really creative and really fun because people are thinking outside the box.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry and I...
What?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Mitchell. No, you go ahead, Mitchell.
Okay, Jerry and I were on the same season, and I do recall Jerry, right before we voted off Mad Dog, the producers told me, I don't think that's a good idea. And they didn't say, like, don't do it. They just said, the next game might not be physical, it might be mental. And you should keep her because, she was funny and fun and had, funny lines and whatever.
She's a great character.
She's a great character. But they told me, they said, I don't think you should vote her off. And I said, okay, but we already had made our choice. And so there wasn't anything we could do. I felt like we should stick with our guns and stick with what we had decided. But they did tell me, I don't think it's a good idea to vote off Mad Dog. And
that's
so they did interfere one time with me, and that's the only time they ever interfered.
What were you going to say, Dave?
Sorry, Mitchell.
It's all inside jokes. No. I was in the middle of sending you an apology email for giving you a hard time about the Google comment.
That's right. I have a very thick skin since you last saw me, trust me.
The point that I was actually going to ask Spencer, because I think something that I think about often, and I was curious on your thoughts, is that the other thing that's different about the earlier seasons is that you didn't have the experience to watch everybody else's screw ups and successes. So on the last couple, it's there's difference, but you also learn a lot over the past 10, 12 years or so that the show's been on.
Yeah, but I think you would be surprised as to how many people are completely oblivious to what happened earlier in seasons. They cast so many non-fans of the show, and they cram down Micronesia, Heroes versus Villains, and like one other random in there. And they're like, listen, watch this. See what Parvati did. See what so-and-so did. Watch Russell. And that's all they watch. And then they go on the show and like, idols, 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 and that's all they know. They don't actually know what the history of the show is. They don't know mistakes that people have made in the past. They don't know any of this because they cast, on my season, 4 of the 16 of us were actual applicants. 4 of us. Me,
That's
Coach, JT,
sad.
and Sandy. 4 of us. On Todd's season, Todd's season had 2.
Full process applicants.
Like, sat at their computer, saw that they were auditioning, put in a video, put in an application, did all that fun stuff, and were not, and said, hey, you'd be great. Would you like to try on Survivor? Oh, maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. Oh, suddenly you're in finals with Mark Burnett. Not like that. Like, you actually are a fan of the show. You watched the show. You wanted to be on the show. 4 in my season, 2 in Todd's season. So it's gotten really far away from people who actually give a shit about wanting to be on the show. And it's more people who are like, you look fantastic in a bathing suit, and you might be able to give us a snarky confessional once every episode. So you know what? There you go. Here's your shot at $1 million. And so they have no idea what actually happened in the past. They have no idea that this is the 3rd season they've done Men vs. Women. They probably think it's the 1st season they've done it for half of these people, which is true. And it's really sad because there are so many people who really want to be a part of the show and really have great minds for the show, or at least think they do, or have ideas. Like, I had great ideas, but I didn't have a lot of the personal experience to realize when somebody was completely bullshitting me to my face and they had a smile on their face and all that, and they had the best intentions, and they had been logical what they were saying to me as far as agreeing with me, but they were totally screwing me over. I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I was doing it, but it was all behind the scenes, and they never showed it because my story was irrelevant. So things like that, people, at least that's a seed, though, of somebody who is trying to do something, trying to create alliances, trying to do this stuff. A lot of people these days haven't seen anything, and it's just unfortunate that that's the way it is, because you really, I think, miss out on a lot of gameplay and a lot of potential storylines because you want somebody to attract those 10 million viewers who are to come back and look at the hot chick or the 8 hot chicks in a bathing suit.
Mm-hmm. You know, I totally agree with Spencer. I did apply. I sent in an audition tape in the application, and there were a lot of people from our season that didn't apply. They just picked him off the street. For instance, Dan, he was sitting in a bar in New York, and there was a casting director right there in the bar and walked up to him and said, hey, you want to be on Survivor? And as far as I've heard, that he had never watched the show, so he got out there and didn't really know what he was doing. But I also want to get back to the whole aspect of playing the game. I truly believe in this game you have to take one day at a time. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that look too far into it, as Kim is doing it in this season, and you never know when there's going to be a twist thrown at you or something like that. I truly believe in my season, if I wouldn't have picked the Blue Rock, I would have been out. I'd have been the next one voted out. That's what saved me. And after that save, I was able to make some great alliances, and that's what pulled me through. So this is definitely a game that you just have to take one day at a time.
Absolutely. And I personally cannot stand the rock thing. That drove me nuts. You know, Mitchell and I actually had it happen on our season where it literally came down to who had any previous votes. And that was your episode, wasn't it, Mitchell?
I think Holly means not rock, but tribal. I think she means rocks, like when they chose tribes. They mixed up the tribes.
Oh, got it, okay.
Our season, it was old versus young. And on day 12, we went to a challenge, and we had to pick rocks out of a bag, and then we mixed up the tribes.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I didn't fit in with my tribe at the beginning, and I was going to be on the outs. And then I picked the Blue Rock and ended up being the captain, and I got in with these young kids, and I made some great. So I truly believe it is a game that you just have to sit back, and you do have to think, of course, ahead, but not too far ahead, and take one day at a time.
Well, you know, just to, again, like, kind of compare, and I know there's people out there who hate it when we compare, but get over yourself, because that's what we're here for. This episode drove me absolutely insane when, once again, you know, they're all standing around, and there's a food thing, and it was literally, I'm just like, food again? Like, seriously. It's so ridiculous this season that Troyzan even said, I don't even care about the food. Now, I don't know about you guys, but on my season, we were so freaking hungry that the mere idea of food, like, drove you mad because you were so hungry. And I'm like, what is going on with this season and the freaking food?
And the auction, this last season, this last episode, the auction, I'm sorry, but if you gave us on our season, Jerry, if you gave each of us $500 cash, I would have probably smacked you and slapped you all in the face with like a platypus and stole your money and got a helicopter out of there. Like, it's so dumb. Like, here's $500, we're gonna get it back, but here's $500 to play with. It was stupid, but I mean, it was interesting what people chose because I mean, I wouldn't choose a shower.
It was uncovered. Remember back in the day when you took a risk? Like, there was actually something interesting.
Yeah, and it was like river water. Yeah. It was like river water.
I don't know what it is, but I've got to have it. You know, like that's how it was.
Right.
And this is like here in front of you.
Uncovered. It was
And
uncovered.
then Kat just totally, she cracks me up every time. So they're supposed to bet in increments of 20.
Yeah.
She couldn't figure out how to bet. And I'm like, and then she bets on a BLT, and she walks up and she's like, oh,
there's bacon on
it. I'm like,
Yo.
are you kidding me?
And you guys know she's from, like, Homegirl is real dumb. Let's just call it what it is. Homegirl is real fucking dumb. And yet, what is she? In the core alliance that's set for the Final Four.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
She's
there
not
you
gonna
go.
Win. She's not
Well,
gonna win.
I don't think she will, but the fact that she's in place to be easily... I asked my roommate the other night, I said, okay, get them to the Final Four. Who do you think of those four is going to be in the Final Three, even though it's supposed to be Sabrina and Kat and Kim and Chelsea, whatever? He's like, oh, I think it's going to be the white girls. I think they're just somehow going to get Kat in there because Kat's easier to beat than I think Sabrina would be. So, Homegirl is in line to be in the top three, and yet, I'm not trying to be mean to the girl, but the girl is dumb. The girl is real dumb. Yeah. But I wanted to ask Mitchell real quick. Mitchell, you were out on what, day 12?
Yes.
And I was 15. How many pounds did you lose?
30.
30. Okay, well, I was 15, and I only lost 18. But still, that's more than a pound a day, and you were like more than 2 pounds a day. So that means our seasons were similar as far as early on. Yours is way different, but still. Well, as far as not having food.
Jerry can attest to the fact that they did not give us food. I mean, it was a bit of rice, but that's it. I mean, well,
that's all we had in Brazil too. We had this jataba crap that was, they said, and it smelled like feet, but it was a protein, so we would still like mix. No, it was really bad, but we did eat it. Aside from that, there was nothing to find. There were no coconuts. There were none of this crap where you can just go scavenge for a lot of shit. No, it was like you legitimately have rice. That is what you have.
Yep.
We were like that too. We didn't have very much food. It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was bizarre. Like
I think island seasons are easier. I do.
Well, yeah, because it's tropical and there's things growing everywhere. And I know for a fact on Samoa, when we Heroes and Villains, there was actually an area right behind our camp that was like some kind of weird random farmland. And I don't know if the producers actually planted this stuff or if someone was actually growing things there. But there was like chili peppers, there was cucumbers, there was breadfruit, there was like just random vegetables in the middle of the Samoan jungle. I was like, this is
now by
weird.
The 18th time they might not have as many coconuts, but we won't get to that until like next year. So that's fine.
Samoa, I don't know if you know this, but their only export is coconuts. And
really?
Every island there is completely covered with coconut trees. It's so infested with coconut trees that I think it's like 85% of all deaths in Samoa are caused by falling coconuts. It's like one of the things they tell you when you get out there, whatever you do, do not stand under a coconut tree.
Holly, that's like in South Dakota, most deaths are based on hitting a deer on the road.
True that. It's very true.
A deer or a pheasant.
A deer or a pheasant. That causes most deaths in South Dakota.
So Mitchell, I think it's funny that you say you would have beat everybody up like a platypus. I don't know where you got that, but
no, I'm just saying.
I think it's funny. Well, I think it's funny because Tarzan, again, okay, his moments on this show, I wish someone would just put together every Tarzan moment throughout the season because that guy is TV gold. You know, and he's like, oh, I'm not going to spend it. I'm going to buy myself some new shocks. I was like...
But you know what? When they read
funny.
those letters from home, every single time, it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, I cry.
I do too.
Alicia, she gave up her $500 right away. She was like, I just want my letter. And Tarzan, of course, he didn't read his, but he realized that home was more important than his shocks.
Right.
Yeah. It was pretty quick. And again, the whole family, anything related to the family, I just think it's so crazy. Like, I know people who have never gone through the experience. They're always looking at those episodes going, oh, give me a break. What's the big deal? But there is something about anything your family has touched, written, done, whatever. God, if you can see your family, that's even more intense. But it is like instant floodgates are open. Everybody's bawling. These masculine men, like, completely break down. I love those episodes. So I found a secret scene. This is like my new thing with this whole deal. If you could go ahead and roll that. This happened right after the letter challenge, and I think it's a great testament to how crazy this whole thing can get.
Today we had an auction, and it was definitely kind of fun and interesting. There was some pretty good stuff. I definitely got myself a nice chocolate shake, but when I got back, I just kind of had a moment. Everybody, please listen to me. I'm begging from the bottom of my heart. It just hit me that to have those letters, it would mean everything to me, and I don't need that much. And I really hope Jeff could just make one last delivery. I want to see those letters. I want to see how my daughter's doing.
Please, the challenge is over. Like,
Well, we're back at camp here, so.
All of a sudden I look over and Leafy says tears streaming, and I'm like, what's wrong with this cat,
Well, I mean, I'm gonna try anything. I just need $100. $100.
He's trying to scrape up money to get his letter.
The game is over. We just came from the same challenge you did, and I don't care if we needed $20 more. Call me a cold-hearted woman, but I want my letters too. I had $100. Can somebody loan me $400?
How much? I really would have traded anything in the world for those letters, and to know that I seriously wasted my money on a stupid shake for letters from my loved ones. But I know deep down that everything is okay and that all my family will be fine.
How crazy is that? That
Wow.
they get back from that challenge and he totally loses it. He really thinks Jeff is going to show up with the letters if he asks. It's so sad.
Well, if it was Russell, he would have shown up. So
yeah, you're absolutely right.
he's not really out of his mind there.
Oh. And then I think my next favorite little point was when Troyzan comes back to camp and he starts looking for the idol, and everybody's like, "Look at him! He's like looking for the idol with no shame whatsoever." And I'm
Heaven forbid someone play the game.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking this is Rob Mariano all over again. Like whenever we all got back to camp, he would literally watch and wait for someone to walk away. What are you gonna do? Where are you going? What's going on? And it was just nice to see somebody go, you know what? Screw you guys.
But see, I think that was one of the differences, and I enjoyed that part of, even though I was rooting for Rob, of Heroes versus Villains, where he was coming from an early Survivor generation player against what's now become the new game with all the idols and whatnot. And Sandra had some comment along the same lines about, I don't know nothing about this, hitting my idol, whatever, but it's crap, that type of thing. Whereas it was more like, okay, you're looking for it, you're done. As opposed to realizing that in recent seasons, you have it, you have power. It's not like you're done. It's like, now I have leverage. Now I can tell people, tell them I have it, they're on my side type thing. That was a really interesting difference to me that played out in Samoa. The difference between his mindset and the new mindset. And unfortunately, in my opinion, worked out in Russell's favor. But it was still interesting to see that play out, just the difference in styles of play.
And I loved that he had the idea to fake like he had the idol. Mm-hmm. Rupert pulled that with us in Heroes and Villains, and I wish Sandra was here right now because I remember her looking at me and she was like, "Trust me, Jerry, he don't have it." And I was like, "Really? Are you sure? Are you sure, Sandra? I'm positive about it?" Nice. And I didn't know at the time the reason she was so sure about it was because she had it, which was great. But when I saw him playing with his pocket, I was like, man, that's a smart smart move. But here's a question, because I looked everywhere to find out what happened here. But why did Leaf and Tarzan have face paint on? Like, where did that come from? I was like, and Tarzan looked like he was
bright
dead.
blue. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I'm sure they had it from the Merge or some stupid challenge along the way.
I just couldn't figure out why.
But you know how that happens. People at camp come up with ridiculous ideas, and then it comes up in a challenge once in a while or an event, and they're wearing it in a confessional, and nobody knows where it came from. But you know how you've been on 3 seasons. I'm sure it's happened to you.
No, it has not.
Nobody's ever done something kind of weird that they showed up at a challenge that meant something secret, but nobody knew what it meant. I mean, I'm sure that's happened.
I made necklaces.
So Spencer, here's a little story on that, right? So like, Grand Council with different mustaches every episode that we went back. So it was like piecemeal, cutting off like a beard to a little goatee to like handlebars. Dumb shit like that happens all the time. You don't get all the storylines.
Well, and then in All-Star, or in Villains with you, Jerry, you were still in the game, but I heard this from Courtney, that they went back like 5 jury members in, and they were all going to wear green shirts. I don't know if it was Dragons related or just like green shirts. And then Jeff like threw the big hissy fit, was like, this show isn't about you guys. And he made them all change. I think one person wore a green shirt to the actual tribal council. Everybody else had to change into something else. But those are fun stories that happen that nobody ever finds out about. And also the drunken escapades that happened back at Ponderosa or the pre-jury trip. That shit gets crazy too.
Yeah, actually, Heroes and Villains, there was one night, I was still in the game, the jury walks up the stairs and they've all got dark, like risky business glasses on, like every single one of them, and Jeff just lost his shit. He was like, what the fuck is this? Like, we're all just like, well, we all thought it was funny, right? But he was very...
Listen, Jerry, it's serious. This is Survivor.
Very controlling over the jury and what they wore. It was strange. But getting back to the game, what did you guys think about Troyzan and his just blatant, like, in everybody's face, this is my island? I was like, Troyzan, hold it back, please.
That was so uncalled for. That was one of the worst comments you could ever say, especially to a group of people who don't like you.
Yeah, or people that you want to vote for you to win $1 million.
Right. I mean, like, why would you say, this is my island, it's my island?
You can't beat me!
Yeah. That's the worst thing you could ever do.
And then didn't Troyzan make a comment to him after they got back from the challenge? He said, I don't like the way you're acting. I can't specifically remember the words, but Tarzan made a comment, to Troyzan about that. Didn't he say something to him?
Yeah, he did. He said, you need to have some humility, man. I'm happy for you, but I'm still going to try to beat you, whatever. But
okay, but in that, Tarzan, why is Tarzan, aside from just individual perspective, why is he trying to beat Troyzan? Why are they not on the same team? And the same question goes out to Leaf. I read some of his interviews today, and nothing indicated to me that he had any sort of, aside from maybe like, thought he had a deal originally with the men type thing or whatever, none of it seemed to indicate, Kim was really stringing me along, and I thought she had me in her final deal, whatever. None of that was going on. It was more like he was oblivious to what was going on. And now last night, I think he did vote for Kim. But why did it take Tarzan? Why was Tarzan going against Troyzan? It doesn't make any sense why the men didn't understand. This is what's happening. You're not in their group. You will be picked off after Troyzan. So while it is easy to go after him today, you will be gone in 3 to 6 days. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. None.
I don't understand why Tarzan voted for Leaf. I was completely...
Aside from self-preservation, there is no reason.
No, and then, he's been like one of the people who's really pulled the morality card over and over again, which is also something that grates my nerves. And I thought it was really interesting last night, probably the funniest scene so far this season. Tarzan is holding on to the top of Leaf's head and wiping his face off like a little boy. Like, he's just got his head in his hand. He's like wiping his face, right? They're having this like weird kind of bonding moment that I couldn't quite understand. And then next thing you know, he's voting for Leaf. I was like, what is going on? It was so bizarre.
It was.
Yeah. So, I also noticed last night that Alicia.
Froze Jerry. Jerry?
Is Jerry, is she gone?
Yeah, I think she's gone for a hot minute. Dave, since you were on a season that was men versus women, can you add any sort of insight as to what happened with the six people voting for Jenna and one against Matt? You know, was the crazy thing the reason that he was voted against? Or sorry, Amazon was my favorite season. Amazon and China are my two favorites, so that's why I have to ask somebody who was on the season. Dina Bennett is like an icon to me, so love that bitch to death.
It's so sweet of you. Thank you.
I'll answer the question, but I've got to ask, why were they your favorite season? What was so great about them?
I think China was, and it was before I dated Todd that I loved it. I think it was the characters along with the gameplay, and I think it also had the element of people who I was rooting for ended up making it to the end, which always helps your perspective of a season, as opposed to like a Thailand where I was rooting for the Sukjai tribe, and the other tribe obviously was Chujai was 5, or Chuigon was 5, in the final 5. Amazon, I don't quite know. I think because I was a Jabiru person, and then I was obsessed with their post-merge alliance that ended up fracturing, but I think it was all the back and forth, like every episode, aside from when you and Roger went back-to-back. After that, it was a constant flip of what you thought going into the episode. That didn't happen. Dina going home in episode, I guess, 9 or whatever it was, for Final 8, wasn't supposed to happen. Then Alex going home wasn't supposed to happen. Then Christy going home wasn't supposed to happen until 5 minutes before Tribal. Every episode was a cliffhanger. Then Jenna wanted to quit. Heidi went home instead. Then Jenna was going home next. Oh, wait, she won immunity. Like, that constant flipping was always entertaining as opposed to a pigonging, which happens too often and is just boring. It's up to editors to keep you interested.
Yeah, and I totally get it. I remember, every 3 days, right, you get your new best friend over at Ponderosa.
Yeah.
We try to guess who's coming in, who's going to join us. Never had an idea. It was always a shock.
But what happened with Matt?
Matt's a great guy, right? Hands down, super nice guy. But there's a couple things, like, he just didn't resonate with anybody. Like, no connection with anybody. Completely out of the loop with any real decision. Like, he really did just kind of lose his mind. Like, there was a point when we made it a rule that nobody would stay up by themselves with Matt late at night because we were worried that he was actually going to do something crazy. I mean, it was creepy. And
wow.
And Jenna turned it up. I mean, she's a badass. Like, I can't remember how many challenges she won, but
she won 2. 2 in a row at least.
Yeah, 2 immunities, but she tagged a bunch of other award challenges on top.
I guess, was that what did it for you? Because in my question, at least as a viewer, and again, this is me being super fanboy on the internet to a person from the show, so forgive me, but it seemed as if she did not, you say Matt didn't resonate, it seemed like Jenna was kind of apathetic towards other people that weren't in her alliance. It was almost like she played, which was what she was cast as, like sorority girl, but it seemed as if the way they edited her, she played that. So for her to get 6 out of 7 votes was surprising to somebody watching that somebody like Matt might not get 1 or 2 more, even though it was not surprising that she won, just that she got 6 out of 7 votes. I guess that was surprising to me, and I guess I want more insight on that.
Yeah, and I guess, and I don't want to throw it into the bus, but it's going to come across like that anyway. I think it's a testament to really how kind of off the deep end Matt actually went. I mean, everybody totally thought, like, holy shit, this guy is out of his mind. He ended up here with a couple strokes of good luck. Certainly, if you look at strategy, Rob played a hell of a game.
Yeah, he did.
Jenna's definitely in the loop. And it was between Jenna and Matt. Matt didn't do anything.
Would Rob have won, and what do you think the vote would have been had Rob been in the final 2 with Jenna?
I think Rob would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
I think it would have been closer. It wouldn't have been landslide, but I think it would have pulled it off.
I think Rob had one of those statements that kind of made my life in Survivor, or at least as my fandom, whatever, it made it clear, was you have to know where people are in the game, and he said you have to know where people think they are in strategic quotes there have ever been, because it's so true. It's managing people, but you can manage them where they really are. But you have to also know where they think they are, because sometimes they're idiots. They don't know where the fuck they are, or they think they're in control and they aren't. So thanks for letting me be a fanboy.
Yeah, you know what,
the
Spencer,
brilliancy
never
about-
apologize for that, because that's why I love you being on these things, is that you know more about every past season than anybody I've ever met, and you're great to have in my ear, because I remember a lot
Jerry.
of stuff. Seriously.
I gotta give the shout out too, Jerry, because I'm impressed, Spencer. I've never met you before, but you know more about me than I know about a ton of people on here. So
I'm a nerd.
hats
I'm
off
a
to you.
nerd that didn't do very well. How about that?
Well, you guys
You know what? Sometimes it's just as important to get on the show. It's a hard show to get onto, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried about it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just
Okay,
glad
you guys-
fans still get on the show.
We're running out of time here, and it didn't help that I got booted off my own system, but we're going to go to some video mailbags, because I know we got a lot of them this week, and last time we had so much fun with them. So we'll go ahead and take these viewer questions. These are always fun, you guys.
Hey, my name is Galen, and I'm from Ontario. My question to you is, who do you predict will be out next week and the week after? And when do you think the Girls' Alliance will break? Thank you.
I think if Troyzan doesn't win an immunity, he's out.
I agree.
I agree, but however, did you notice on, they did show that some of the girls it looks like some of the girls are going to start to fight. It was Kat and Kim, they were arguing in the advertisement for next week. So my prediction is, I think Troyzan is going to win another immunity, and I believe one of the girls are going to go, and I believe it's going to be Christina or Alicia. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I hope so. That'd be great. We won't get another pagonging going on here.
I'm going to be going on a super. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave. You're talking first.
No, I was just gonna say, Holly took the words out of my mouth.
Always takes words out of my mouth.
Mitchell.
Oh, Holly.
Okay, Love Fest. Jeez, South Dakota Love Fest. I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb, and I think Troyzan from the very beginning got that winner's quote in the first episode. He still continues to get those winner's quotes. It's my island. He said something else. Somebody else actually made the point, like, oh, Kat, I think it was. Those people, stay in the game, but they never win. Things like that, which I know are a stretch to kind of put all your marbles in. But I'm still going to go with it because I have them in the pool, and I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's going on a limb. It's more fun that way. That's why I lose my bracket pool every year, because I always pick the 5 seed to go to the Final Four. I'm going to say he stays around. I'm going to say one of the women does go home next week.
I have to agree with you, Spencer, because it seems like this season, the editing has just been so in your face, like obvious. Like I knew Jay was going home the other day, the first scene of the show, and I was just like, come on. Like it just feels that way to me too.
And if you've been on the show before or you've watched every season, I've had people text me before, first 2 minutes, so-and-so's going home, they haven't had a confessional in 2 weeks, and there they are in your face, and you're like, yep. I mean, they couldn't really make it much more obvious, but it's just sometimes the way it works. But I hope we're in for a good season, because honestly, to this point, I do think that season has been very entertaining. It's been one of the better ones of the new generation, so to say. So I hope it has a good ending to it. I hope it's not just a very simple man, then like Alicia, Christina, Final Four, because that would really ruin it. I think it's been really pretty good so far.
It's been definitely entertaining, which is...
More so than last season. And not to knock anybody from last season, it was just that season was very predictable and very boring.
Yeah.
Well, good grief, just watching Tarzan in those Speedos.
That's
entertaining alone.
I'm sorry, that turns me on, so...
Ow! All right, let's go ahead and go to the next video mailbag.
There it is.
Jessica, hi guys. So anyone else feel bad for Leaf? Like he didn't even get a confessional, and it's his send-off episode, and then he was crying. And was his torch actually shorter than everyone else's, or did they just look short because he's short? Okay, I'm sorry. I love Leaf. He's so excited about everything. I wish I could be just as happy as him. But yeah, okay. Thank you. Bye.
I like her flower.
I know. I do too.
You know what? I loved watching Leaf. I have to agree with you. To me, that was the first thing that I noticed. I thought his torch was a lot shorter also.
I
watched.
Me neither.
Yeah, and I watched his Ponderosa videos when he was put in the van, and he had a Dr. Liza, I believe, with him, and he just couldn't stop crying, and I felt really bad for him. When he was at Ponderosa, all he kept saying was, "I am so thankful I had this opportunity." He just kept saying that over and over and over. And I really, truly enjoyed watching him.
Holly, being a 7-foot giant.
He really is 7 feet, people.
I have experience. They did build me a taller torch. It was much taller.
Did they? I never noticed that.
Yeah, because every time they had names on them, and every time they handed me the taller one, they had my name on it.
Did you guys actually had names on your torch? Because ours didn't have, like, season 18, none of us had ours on there until afterwards.
Well, Jerry, do you recall the first time we went, the torch was very heavy, and they were made of some kind of, like, poster that made it really tough and hard. But, at any rate, it was very heavy, and then we ended up breaking it along the way. And the next time we went to Tribal Council, they gave us those really Hollywood torches that were really light and just had like a little bit of flame for the helicopters. Do you recall that?
I don't remember that, but I do remember that we literally had to walk to Tribal Council. Remember that? And it was like we started in the morning.
Yeah, it was like,
and
it was like 4 hours,
climb.
at least 3 or 4 hours.
No, it was longer than that. Yeah. I had nightmares because we were literally boulder climbing and jumping over whitewater rapids.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only reason they didn't make us do that from that point forward is because it was the rainy season and the water got so high that we would have been literally swept off that like 500-foot waterfall. Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
I do
Hey, Mitchell.
recall.
She's jaded. She's been on more popular seasons. She's jaded now. She doesn't remember anything.
I know. She's got it all.
Hey, it's all about the land over now, baby.
I do recall say the heavy torches we had to carry. I do recall.
They were heavy.
Yeah, the first ones. I walked up with the camera and looked it right in the eyes, and I said, "Mark Burnett will not quit until we're all dead." And maybe that made a difference. I don't know.
I'm sure it did.
I'm sure. Why not?
I would so love to see Mitchell and Leaf stand side by side. Would you guys like to see that?
We got to make that happen.
I think a better comparison, and my actually favor Leaf would be Leaf and Russell.
Well, yeah.
I'd like to.
I'll drink to that.
Yes.
But when a Leaf arrived at the Ponderosa, they were all lifting him up and hugging him. And it was really cool to see Mike lift him up and give him a great big hug.
Aww.
Yeah.
Look at Holly, queen of the Ponderosa videos.
I love watching the Ponderosa.
Those are fun.
I love it.
Holly is queen of all.
Let's take it.
Hi guys, thank you for taking my question. The episode finally showed Alicia actually talking about real good strategy, and to me I think that might be a sign that she's due to make a big move, and I think that move would probably be either at 6 or 7, where she'd get either Tarzan, Christina, Sabrina, and Kat to get rid of Kim and Chelsea, and I think from there the final 3 would end up being Kat, Sabrina, and Alicia. What do you guys think about that, and at this point, who does it look to you guys that's going to be in the final 3?
I'm confused.
I'm so sorry, but I couldn't hear him.
It was very hard to hear him. I think it was something about who do we think is going to be in the final 3. I hope it's Troy's in. I hope it's Kim and Chelsea. I could see those 3.
I see those 3.
What about you, Dave? Rob
Mitchell took the words out of my mouth.
Oh, again.
I love it.
I think it was about Alicia and getting more confessionals about strategy and all that stuff. I think that's crap. I think maybe she's going to be going soon because she's getting more airtime. I was talking to my roommate who was watching with me last night. I was saying, listen, the time to make a move is now. We're at 9. You know, unless something unforeseen happens, which might happen next week based on all the girls and fighting. Maybe that's just misdirection. I don't know. If it does happen, that makes it a little more open to possibilities. But as it stands now, with 2 men left, with Alicia and Christina still unwilling to make a move, even if they do, at best it's 4 versus 4, then you still need somebody in that core 4 to break, which last night you didn't need. So that's the big problem right now with if nobody in that core 4 breaks, aside from an immunity run or idols helping out, you're screwed. So unless next week something happens with the girls breaking apart, that core four, I think we're kind of set on one of those, 3 of those 4 making the final 3. I think we all think it's a final 3. I'm sure it is, but it's unfortunate. I hope it doesn't happen that way. It's too boring. It would be a bad ending to a good season, but that's what we're headed for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to hit that one, or should we move on? Let's move on.
I think David Guetta has a song about that.
Really? Dead Air?
No, Making You Sweat.
Sweat.
Oh, I love David Guetta. All right.
Yeah, check out Titanium or Night of Your Life with J Hud. It's good.
Sweet. All right, next video mailbag. Pretty please feed us. Erno!
I hope it's
I think that's me with straight hair on his phone. Am I right?
I don't think so. Maybe it is.
Yeah, it is. I recognize my mouth.
There's a joke in there, Jerry. There's a joke in there, Jerry.
I watch that video like a million times every day. Okay, just kidding. Last time my question was, what was the worst twist Survivor ever had? This time it's opposite. What is the best twist, most enjoyable twist Survivor ever had, and why? Okay, see you around.
What does he want to know? The worst twist and the best twist?
No, last time was the worst twist.
Oh.
This time, what's the best twist? If nobody was here last time or wants to chime in, they can. I think everybody would agree the Outcast twist was the worst ever, but maybe not. Now he wants to know the best twist of all time.
Oh, I don't even know.
Aren't they all the same? Aren't they all tribe switches and idols in play? Like,
okay, I'm gonna go with All Stars. We were all on a picnic, and Jeff made us pick buffs out of a coconut thing, and we got shuffled around, and everybody changed except, or no,
Amber.
nobody changed but Amber.
Yeah.
Who ended up on
and
my
then you
team.
got the shaft.
Yep, exactly.
We all heard for you that time, Jerry. And Lex hated Rob forever, and there we have that grudge that still has not been come to fruition.
That was an
good,
evil
dramatic,
season.
angry times.
Evil season, evil.
Right. If you want to talk about Rob and Amber, I've got lots of scoop.
Oh, no.
Oh, Lord. Uh-oh, he's got red wine in his hand. Oh, shit. We got to go into extra time for this.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, maybe we should go straight to the next video, mailbag.
No time, but I don't know of what interest... I mean, this is me probably having a couple drinks, but I don't know what interesting twist they have had, aside from the basic reboots of tried mixes.
It would only be prior to when they got married. That would be all the information that would be very juicy.
I would say, okay, I'll say this. I think the best twist was the fake merge. How about that? Because Sheehan got royally fucked. And I think that was really cool, because she was a bitch.
Yeah, I think that's a great twist, yeah. Let's go to the next video, Nick.
Jerry knows way too much. Go on.
And I have it all on video.
What's up? This question comes from Leo from Brazil once again. And my question this week is, do you think it has become a strategy to make yourself look crazy so that you can go all the way to the end without being perceived as a threat? Which I think it has been happening for a while. So I would like to know your opinion on that. And again, Jerry, all the love to you from all the Brazilian fans. Thank you.
Celia loves you.
That's just a playboy. That's just a playboy.
Well, that was me.
I know.
Wow. You know what? This whole crazy thing, all I gotta say is, I don't personally think like Philip was pretending to be crazy. I don't think Tarzan is pretending to be crazy. I think they just are. And
I do too.
I love the entertainment value of it. I mean, without Philip in that season, that would have been the most boring season in the entire universe. It was pretty damn near close anyways.
Mainly because of who they cast, not because of how it happened. Because they cast people like, listen, we want Rob to win. Not knocking Rob, because I think Rob is excellent. I'm just saying, I don't think they cast a lot of people who were looking to make moves.
No. They didn't cast people who wanted to win, really. But I think the crazy thing is fun. Although I will say, okay, just to flashback with you, Mitchell. Remember Cal on our season?
Wasn't it Cal?
Cal, yeah, Dave, you were talking about how you guys were afraid of Matt.
Yeah.
Who flipped out? Yeah, we were the same way with Cal, and that's something that they never really showed. Like, we literally slept with our machete underneath us because we were afraid at night that he was going to hurt us.
We hid all the knives at the axes. Anything that would kill or maim somebody, we hid them all, and we slept with them underneath us because we were that afraid. And we were afraid. And we had somebody on watch every night, somebody watching, staying up.
Wow.
Taking turns.
Yeah. So there's been several people even back in the beginning of this that have been a little on the crazy side. And we all go through extensive psychological exams, so they know exactly what they're getting before we go out there.
Apparently somebody from Gabon went through 6 psych evals prior to passing one and eventually got on the show for that season. Wow. I won't say who. All I'm saying is that they want somebody on the show, they will try their damnedest to get that motherfucker on the damn show. Just saying.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Hey, Jerry, I got to be rude, but I got to bounce. But I just wanted to say thank you very much. Thank you, Holly, Mitchell, Spence. It's been real.
Bangarang.
See you guys soon. Bangarang, baby.
That's right.
It was great meeting you.
Dave, thanks so much for coming on. Yay, Dave.
Bye, Dave.
Thank you much.
I have to ask Jerry and Mitchell real quick, not to exclude you, Holly, but it's about season 2. What do you think about the rumors that Mike Skupin is on season 25?
I heard the rumor, and what I'd like to say about that is I love it. Absolutely. I would love to see Mike Skupin get another chance. I mean, he was the first person medevaced out of the game. We all know he was a little bit crazy, speaking of crazy, and so I would love to see him play again.
And he wanted very badly to be on All Stars. I know that for sure.
He's wanted to play again since he got medevaced.
He is the one who was so ready for the game, and then a very terrible thing happened. And so now it's like, why don't you give him another chance? Because, he had a bad he couldn't stay in the game with burned off hands. So he had to leave, and that's not fair. So,
so I'd say bring it.
Give him another chance at least.
Okay, you guys, we have one more video mailbag, and then we got to call it. We're running late.
Ooh, Holly, that's your fault.
Hey guys, if Kim and Troyzen were to be both voted out, who do you think would be the most deserving winner out of the remaining people left? Thanks.
I think Chelsea. I'd like Chelsea as a choice for winner.
I think Chelsea or Sabrina get the most strategic confessional. So of what we know of them, and they're in the alliance, you would seem to think they would have some sort of input on strategic decisions. So I guess, other than that, you have Alicia, who's on the chopping block, Christina, who's on the chopping block, Tarzan, who's batshit crazy, and Kat, who's oblivious to the fact that Earth actually exists. So those are your 2 remaining options. So,
well, Troy or Troyzen is, I'm sorry, but kind of like Richard Hatch. He's playing a weird game, and the people don't like him. And sometimes I start to think, well, that's the one who's going to win it. So that scares me. I think it could be Troyzen.
I hope so. Win me like $200, so that's awesome.
What's that?
What about you, Holly? Who do you think will?
I totally agree with Mitchell. The last question, I'm going to totally agree with Mitchell because I just have to.
All right, you guys.
Aww, South Dakota connection.
It's a big South Dakota love fest. I've got ties there myself. The Dakotas. Oh, yeah.
I will say I have been before on the parade, but it was the longest day of my life. All I saw were cows, for hours on end. I went to Mount Rushmore in the morning, and then we drove across the state the rest of the day, and it was like the black cows were with the black cows, the white cows were with the white cows, so it was almost like it was racist. And then we saw bales of hay, and that was it. And then we took south towards Iowa, and we got to Des Moines, and it was like the Mecca of the United States. It was, I mean, I'm not trying to knock South Dakota, but it was a very long day.
Do you know that the South Dakota...
come up to our ranch. You come up to our ranch, we'll show you a good time.
I would love to.
I would.
Holly, ask Todd. Todd is obsessed with you. I would love to come.
South Dakota is the land of infinite variety.
Yes, we got
done.
3 people right here. 3 people. Come on, 3 people.
All right, you guys. I love you.
Mitchell has been to our ranch. Okay, Jerry.
Yeah, we got to call it quits here. But I'm so happy to see all of you, and come back anytime you want. Just let me know, okay?
We love you,
all
Jerry.
you out there, thanks for tuning in, and